Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Friday, October 11th, and it is time for another edition of the Ghost Files. Welcome back. We got another special episode this week. I happen to be going through a bunch of hard drives and I think the guys over here. This is a little hard drive called Camp Crystal Lake that I've had for a long time. And as I was going through some of the old files the other day, looking for stuff for the Never Hike Alone Blu-ray, I discovered the original version of Never Hike Alone that was shot in 2014. I believe it was March of 2014. And today I scrambled my ass off to sort of reassemble it because I didn't have the cut. I think we did the cut in like Final Cut or something like that. And that project is long gone on another drive that died a long time ago. And that's why I thought I had lost this footage for a long time. But I was able to assemble something today. We're going to take a look at that in a little bit. But first, before we do that, I want to say, what's up, everybody? I hope everybody had a good week. We're coming in live tonight, another Friday night, Halloween season. I want to say a quick shout out to Dave McCrae and Bruce Dale, who just released It's Me, Billy, too. If you're a big fan of Black Christmas and you know the Dave McCrae channel, you know he's been working on this project for a very long time. It's Me, Billy came out, I believe, 2 or 3 years ago. A wonderful fan film, and they were able to crowdfund and get the funding to finish it. It's about 50 minutes long. I watched it this morning. It's really, really good. I just want to say congratulations to Dave and Bruce. Amazing job. If you haven't checked it out yet, make sure you go over to the Dave McCrae YouTube channel and check that out. I also want to give a shout out to Rip to Shreds, another Kickstarter campaign that's going on right now based on an old 80s script that was basically passed over in the 80s and never got made. It was optioned. And then it sat in development for a long time and never got made. Our good friends over at Apostrophe Books has made that into a graphic novel. It is crowdfunding on Kickstarter right now. I believe they're at $13,000. They're almost doubled their goal of $7,000. I am a backer in it. I cannot wait to see the final version of it. I've read the script, which is actually really cool. So definitely check that out. And of course, Never Hike Alone, the final cut, is still funding on Kickstarter. We've reached 38,700, so we're a little bit less than 12,000 to go. We have about 20 days left. We've added new perks or new rewards to the campaign, and there are more new rewards coming. In fact, I have one over there. I might grab it later while Never Hike Alone or something is playing. But the link is in the description of this video. Speaking of which, if you haven't yet, like this video, subscribe to the channel. That way you can get updates every time we go live every week here at the Ghost Files. A couple other announcements. We are, let me see, what was the name of it while I'm thinking about it? Okay, yes. And that is, so we got the coming up, we have the Phobia Film Fest, October 25th. The Never Hike Alone 2 will be playing there. I will also be traveling to Vancouver at the end of the month of October for a Vancouver Horror Show. Never Hike Alone is going to be playing the opening night there. We've been sharing links from the Vancouver Horror Show, and if you haven't already, if you're in the Vancouver area or if you know anyone in the Vancouver area, we'll be playing Friday night in the big theater. We have a couple of really cool short films that will be coming on right before us. Afterwards, we're going to do a Q&A. I'm really looking forward to this one because I don't think I've seen Never Hike Alone in a traditional theater yet. We did it at Telluride. We got to do it at the kind of like the more old school theater, which is something that they set up post-haste, but in an actual like auditorium theater this way. It's going to be a really cool experience. If you haven't seen Never Hike Alone 2 on the big screen and you're in Vancouver, definitely make sure to check it out. Grab your tickets now and don't hesitate. So while I'm doing all that, let's jump into the chat. Of course, we have our good buddy. Where's my boy? Up. There he is. I need NHC3 and some Kyle. Undead is in the chat. Undead is our moderator. If you have any questions, Undead will answer them for you. He'll also post links and everything you need to know. If you want to get a question on the show tonight after we show some of these videos, because we're going to show many videos tonight. I actually had a lot of fun showing videos last week. So we're actually going to take a look at sort of, you know, the build of Never Hike Alone tonight from concept to completion, in a sense of how we got from this thing I'm about to show you, which I'm really just going to call it a thing, and then how we sort of progressed along the way. And there's a little bit of a curveball in here, something that you may have seen before on the channel, but we're going to show that. But let's see who's hanging out in the thing tonight. We got Dre Mason saying yo, and he's got a great Ghost Jason photo hanging on there, and he's got good advice. Don't go into the woods. Sasha's in the chat. Beware lots of missing people from that place. Missing 411. Stoutimus is in the chat tonight. What's up, Adam Stout? Ghost Jason's back. Of course, our fan favorite, Allie Girl. She's looking forward. Oh, you guys must be watching the trailer. Her and Mitch the Ripper, who's here every week. Thank you guys for stopping in. We got Hollow Field. What's up? Good saying hello to everybody. Anthony Horrocks. I'm sure Katie's there too, hanging out with him. What's up, guys? Good to see you there. Robert the Wolfman checking in. I saw you the other night on Davey Deathray's stream that we had. And if you haven't checked that out, I did an interview with Davey Deathray on Wednesday on the Davey Deathray channel. Late night with Davey. It was a lot of fun. We get to talk about a ton of subjects. We get to talk a lot about Never Hike Alone and some of the other things going on in the horror world right now. We got Bashzilla in the chat. Devin's Forum, thank you for showing up and hanging out. Chuck Phelps is in the, hey, what's up, Chuck? Hope you're doing well. Here's another favorite of mine, Jacob Thompson. Hey, Jacob, I saw your email while I was plastering through all this stuff. You were asking about some of the secret perks, like this guy right here. He should be in the add-ons. There were 10 of them. I don't know if there's any left. There's posters, there's beanies, there's all that stuff. But if you go back into your checkout cart, you can just add on things if you want to add anything else on. That goes for anyone else here who's a Kickstarter backer. There's stuff going on here. We got some new Kickstarter perks coming next week. I got some really good ones. I wrote them down. We'll talk about those in a little bit, but that sounds good. Let me see. Jim Kelly's in the chat. Just saying hello. Balin's in the chat. Hello, Vin. How you doing there, mate? Sorry to do that to you guys, but you got me started. I meant to ask about the new rewards. I don't think I see them, like the action figure and camp map. Yeah, those things are in add-on. So Jacob, if you go into your cart, if you go into your Kickstarter pledge on the site, it says you can adjust pledge. In the adjustment of pledge, there should be the add-ons. Let's see, T-Rex Talents. Hey man, it's Logan from T-Rex Talents here. I loved a chance to work with you. I'm disabled makeup artist, creature actor. If you're ever in need of either, I'm a huge fan. Well, T-Rex, wherever you're at, you can always reach out to us at wompstompllc.com. I do keep sort of a quote unquote volunteer list. I'm not saying that like people who get on that list never get paid, but that's sort of people who want to work with us. When we have projects, we reach out to people on those lists. We see who's available. We open invites to set. In fact, I don't know if he's in the chat tonight, but Kaiden Ritchie, I'm sure, will show up at some point. But Kaiden was one of those people. Big fan for a long time. Emailed me. Ended up becoming one of the most important PAs on Never Hike Alone 2. That could be you. Make sure to email us at wompstompfilms@gmail.com. I'm sure Undead will throw that in the chat. Steve, DMV, is here. What's up, brother? I made a pledge. Hey, thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. Crates of Juniors here. Vinny, do you think the backward staircase wheelchair machete chop in the head kill is one of the best death scenes in horror? Yes, I do. That is actually my favorite kill in the series. I was so exhausted Thursday morning. Me too. I was here up till midnight, so it was thing. Damn well, I think they're already sold out. Well, we'll work something out for you, Jacob. I mean, you got some really cool stuff coming through, and we can always work with Kaiden to get more made. So you just stay in contact with me, and we'll work something out. Kickstarter link, it's right then and there, but it is in the description. Probably easiest to go that way. It's a direct link away if you haven't done it yet. Crafter is up. Is the Ghost in the Fog Never Hike Alone 3? No, Ghost in the Fog is its own thing. It's an animated prequel to Never Hike in the Snow. It kind of exists somewhere between Disappear and Never Hike in the Snow, and it's just a story about random people going into the woods and getting murdered. Let me see. There's the contact information, just like I knew he would. Not me totally Googling how to make movies. I mean, there's lots of things to do on set. When it's a PA, it's a lot of just like hands on deck, moving things around, helping with crafty, helping just set up and break down things, moving tents. You never know what you're going to do. I mean, on Never Hike in the Snow, we had people shoveling snow. I mean, it was crazy out there. Cool. So we got through everyone's comments and everything there. Let me take a quick sip of water. And let's talk about Never Hike Alone. Let's talk about Never Hike Alone, the original. In fact, let me get some stuff here. I have the original script. I have the original storyboards, which actually are a little bit different. It actually evolved from there. This is actually a thing from Never Hike Alone 1 where we did the ambulance. But here is the original call sheet, the original Never Hike Alone, which I kept all these years. I guess it's, I'm going opposite way. Kept all these years. It was Saturday, May 3rd. That's what it was. May 3rd, 2014. We had 5 scenes with bonus footage. Man, I had so many shots that day. We had all these different things. Let me see. I have the script here somewhere. Yeah, I mean, look at this. I mean, it was like this long ass script. It's like 2 or 3 pages, and it's so short. That's funny. I guess I didn't do those things, but there's like, yeah, you know, this is just like going down memory lane. Like we had all these these things coming through, all that stuff. I had it all broken down. But let me talk about how this kind of came about. In 2014, I started putting together my first ever cosplay. And in fact, that brings me to a little bit of our, oh, I never added those backgrounds. So while I'm telling this story, I'm going to add some background. So anyway, in about 2014, I started trying to put together my very first ever Jason cosplay. And when I was doing that, I basically didn't know where to go. I went on to eBay. I found this like really sort of cheapish. There it all is. Bam. Okay, now we're bringing in all the backgrounds. Cool. So I was basically putting together this costume, and I want to say in March of 2014, that might have been the year where there were 3. There might have been 3, or it might have been the year before. There were 3 Friday the 13th that year, and I remember I wanted to do something for that and put something together. And what I ended up doing was putting together this costume. So I'm gonna just go like, pew. So everything started with this. This image right here is what kicked off Never Hike Alone. This trail is the trail that you'll recognize from Never Hike Alone 1, the no trespassing sign trail. This is also going to be what you're going to see in a little bit. This was from a photo shoot that I did, just dressing up in the costume once I got all the pieces. I got a hood off of eBay. It was latex. It was really bad. It fit really awful. The mask is a NECA Part 3 reproduction. The shirt, I believe, is a Dickies shirt, Dickies pants, green undershirt, and then everything else is natural hands. You know, I had black boots, all that stuff. A lot of the pieces that actually went into Never Hike Alone. Like I think those boots that I'm wearing there are the ones that went into the actual Ghost Jason costume. And for another little bit of a look at it right here, which is from, and if you guys have been on the site before, we have a little short called Happy Friday the 13th. So the first ever sort of short film that we did was called Happy Friday the 13th. It featured this costume. And it was just me chasing my ex-wife through the forest in this shot. We sort of added a little bit of a Dutch zoom and like later on down the years. And it was just something to say, hey, happy Friday the 13th. And I was just happy to see the costume in motion and do all of those things. And I used this as sort of a test piece to say, hey, I wonder if I can get some people to come out and help me make a movie. And so I did. Let me bring this back and let me bring back here, or boop, like that. So, from there, what ended up happening was we made that, and then I was able to, you know, convince Andrew Lady to come in and be the hiker. I was able to find a director of photography by the name of Oliver Laborg. A good friend of ours, Jonathan, was also helping us out. Kyle Klein was there at the beginning as well. And then my good friend Scott Medeiros ended up helping out on this as well. I played Jason, and I sort of directed and played Jason and tried to do everything together. And it was, for lack of a better words, you'll see the promise of it. You'll kind of see the idea taking shape. But the execution of it wasn't all that great. We hiked up the hill. We ended up shooting this thing. We put it together. My ex, who was an editor, like did her best to put together something that was there. We didn't have great sound. Everything was going to have to be post sound. And in fact, what you're going to watch, there is no sound. I did lay some soundtrack in there. It doesn't really match up all that well in some places. It's just meant to not make it totally boring. But what I'd like you to watch in a little bit is just sort of this attempt of, where Never Hike Alone landed, but this is where it started. And it started with this experimentation of going out and shooting something for the first time that was, we didn't know if it was going to be any good. And honestly, after we cut it together and Friday the 13th was approaching, we decided that it wasn't very good and we shouldn't release it. But, over the years I've talked about it, people have been very interested to be like, what did that look like? How bad could it really be? Well, you're going to see for yourself. Let me see. Before I jump in, where's my line? Bash, I'll get to those. I'll get to that in a little bit. There we go. Just reading there. So what you're about to watch is about 2 minutes long. It's about as far as it went. There was some footage there was some pickup footage that never made it in because the coloring didn't match and the time of year didn't match. In fact, we shot these pickups in November and it didn't look good. So we were trying to put this project together. We never ended up releasing it. And then I went back to the drawing board, and that's where we're going to step off. From that point, we're going to talk about the other pieces that I made to sort of improve myself from here. So we're about 18 minutes in. We got 36 people here. I think I've made you wait long enough. I know I've been touting this thing for a long time and showing screenshots and stuff like that. So you're going to see a couple of really nice shots in here. You may even recognize some of the shots from Never Hike Alone. But without further ado, I'm going to take my lumps on this one, but sit back, relax, and enjoy the original Never Hike Alone. So now you can see why we never released that to anybody. But anyway, yeah. So as you can see, that was a sort of a very big learning experience for me. We pulled that together. We saw those shots, and immediately in my head, there were a lot of things that went wrong. Let's talk about all of those things. This shot. I actually really like this shot, but you know what? There's just some things that I think, we didn't get enough of this coverage where we were shooting the mountains, and I guess I could have gone back up and done that. I was a fan of this shot. This shot always like kind of came out good. And this is where the trouble started. We started picking up these shots, and they kind of came together, but there was less of a head frame than I kind of needed there. This kind of came together. And one thing that annoyed me was I made Drew. In fact, hold on, let's pause that real quick. Boop. Let's go look at the baby face Drew. Hang on. Let me get the other angle. Look at this guy. Hold on. We got to get where is he? Anyway, we're going to go from here. Let me kind of, boom. There he is. There's my boy. Basically, like everything is going on wrong here. We created this blood with corn oil, like the worst kind of blood. This was stuck on him for like days. It was too bright. It was too sticky. We didn't really have any effects. Like everything was just blood everywhere. We covered him in it. He was dragging his leg. It was something that like in post, I was like, I shouldn't have had him drag his leg. I should just have him run. It would have been so much nicer if he was just running through the thing. But the idea here was that we were trying to set up that something attacked this guy and now he's running from it and we don't know what it was. And we didn't want to set it up that it was Friday the 13th. You know what I mean? So, we're just kind of establishing some pretty generic shots, following him through the forest. And I mean, this is pretty funny. This is him holding basically like a sponge that's covered in blood. That way it's just leaking out of him while he's running through. He's got like the twisted ankle with the ruptured leg, and kind of moving around and just, moving around different shots. It wasn't totally sort of finessed in the way that we got it eventually on Never Hike Alone. Here we, I think that this is kind of where like the dragging the leg and kind of limping around really started to annoy me, just from a standpoint of like, man, I feel like it's just slowing everything down and it doesn't really it just doesn't look right. There's sort of a change of expression right there that wasn't matching. He sort of turned around and had like a casual expression. Like he had such good acting there, but there it sort of went out. The feet dangling, just like the classic, like you knew that we were just like lifting somebody up and doing it. There was just lots of things that didn't really cut together here. I wish that we had more time to establish them looking back and forth at each other, but we didn't really get the coverage angles. I didn't go in and get a close-up. I didn't cover different angles here, although I did get the close-up on this, which I thought kind of came out good. This is my favorite shot in the whole thing. I mean, this is the one that sort of, I think we took a photo of this very early on, but like you guys were saying, like this has a very like TCM. There's a good angle. This is a very Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibe. It definitely feels like the remake. Coming through here, literally I'm just chopping the ground and getting dirt to fly up, and that sort of looked like blood, and so we kind of like worked that out. And then the idea is when we had sound, you were going to hear like music approaching, and then Jason was going to stop. He hears the music, turns around. One of the things here, I mean, you can see the rubber piece sticking out of the lower shirt. If you look just below the left collar, you can see that this is just a NECA repro mask. I mean, look at the ear. It's just, this was like the tightest, grossest latex mask you could ever wear. And now here's sort of where we really didn't get any coverage. Now, originally what I wanted to do was, go in, get a close-up of the hiker, and then she looks over, she sees something in a bush, but she can't quite tell what it is. And we get her POV, we get close with her, we move close with her, but we never got any of that coverage. We just got sort of like the Jason POV classic type thing. This is my buddy Scott kind of coming out. He had a piece of dialogue where he's like, hey, I'll race you to the parking lot. And she's like, oh, no way. I'll totally get you, and kind of run off. We never covered that. We were racing the sun and just trying to get it done. And here's where we really couldn't show anything. And when we went down and I think we did one or two of these and none of them were in focus. This was the most in focus one. So that was always my biggest issue, is that the final shot, the biggest shot of the whole thing, was out of focus. Now, Oliver did his best. We were shooting on, I believe, Canon MK3 or 5D, no, 5D Mark III. That's what it was. We were shooting on a Canon 5D Mark III. We didn't have a monitor. We were just using the little, like the body camera monitor. And he was doing his best to focus. And it, sometimes it looks focused when it's on when it's on that little lens or that little monitor. And then when you blow it up, it doesn't look great. And so we sort of had this idea that was like, it's not awful. Like, there are good ideas in here. There are good shots in here. This is a cool concept, but what are we going to do with this? And how do we make this better? And so for a long time, I really sort of, this was another kind of favorite shot of mine. Let me see. Just kind of standing over him. I thought that was pretty good posturing. You can kind of see, like, even my costume here is a little setback. Like, the blood's not great. It looks a little purplish. So it's just sort of, it's sort of struggling there. So that is the original Never Hike Alone. And so as a filmmaker, as someone who is trying to branch off from working in animation at that time and not having a lot of experience on live action shooting things like this was a big learning experience for me. And, not rushing out to show it just because I had made something, it made me really think of, like, if I want to show somebody what I can do, why would I show them, something that I don't even feel proud of? And it wasn't that everybody working on it didn't work hard. We all worked really, really hard. It was like shooting up on that hill is like, it sucks. And it was a long day and it's hot, and, we did our best, and I think we did a decent job, but it wasn't something that I think we were going to release it and get the result that we wanted. And so before I go any further, does anybody have any questions? Or let me see. So Anthony likes it. That whole ending was so effing dope. Way better than the Vengeance Gobber. It's real talk. Well, yeah, there was a little bit more story there than some of the other stuff. Corn syrup, red food coloring, drop of blue, to kill the trans. Yeah, it was just, I don't know. We were all just kind of making it up as we go. It was truly the fan film thing where we were just getting together and figuring it out. Your style has vibes, Vin. Thank you. I started in the 80s with an 8mm camera. Monitors are overrated. Yeah, I feel you. Alley Girl thought that was a great shot. So for me, it came down to understanding going up into the forest with a plan and then not really getting those results. So now that we've seen it, let's take a look at what I was trying to do. Because this is, the breakdown of, or this isn't so much the breakdown. Sorry, I got all my shit over. So here's basically the beat sheet that I built, thinking that if I break it down, if I kind of come out here, let's see. That's that. If you guys, check this out. This is the original. Ooh, sorry. This is the original map to college camp. This is the screenshot that I took from that guy's cabin who showed us where it is, but then it was off there. So we got all that. That's the script. So we had the shot list right here, which was, we called it the tunnels. So those trees just created those tree-like tunnels that were really cool to shoot in, and created all that parallax as you're running through it, which is really great. So there was, the wide of shot of the hiker entering from off screen right. So that was the first shot, kind of coming in, turning around, and I think that, like, one of the things that kind of messed with it was the camera work. It wasn't the greatest of introductions, but hang on, let me see where I got it, because it's a little bit more interesting. Oh, here we go. So bear with me here. So you can see, like, this is how I planned out doing, like, the kill scene, about how we were going to kind of get that, little storyboards talking about, like, how to handle the trails and, like, where we were going to be with camera and all that stuff. This was him coming out and, like, seeing the trail, or no, this was the hikers coming out and seeing the trail. where the body would be. So you can see I wanted to do these pickups, but we never did them. And then we never went back up and did that. So let me see. Oh, look at this. So then look, here's an original outline for Never Hike Alone, where it was, this is the trailer. Wow. Okay. Listen to some of this dialogue. This is pretty funny. Okay. So it's day 12 and this trip has been nothing short of amazing. After yesterday's push, I believe I've entered my third state, but I'm not sure which one yet. Kyle pulls out a map. A fog came in last night and is depending on which side of the lake I'm on. As you can see, I haven't quite found it yet. Today's mission is find the lake. I have a pretty good sense that if I follow the source of these streams, I'm going to find water. I'll check in with you later. Kyle out. And so we were sort of basing it off some stuff that we had found up there. Wow, we kind of got up there, stocked, fire pit. Yeah, this was all based on the original camp. So before I get into that, this was a big lesson for me as far as coming to set with a goal, having the right equipment to shoot, and knowing how to execute a plan going on there. So once I sort of like put this failure behind me, something that the next thing I actually did before I went back to Never Hike Alone is I made a film called The Red Room. And I don't know if any of you have watched The Red Room on the channel tonight, but I thought, hey, why not? Why not get some free publicity from other stuff that I've made? The Red Room was a 48-hour film festival short that we made in 2015. And the reason why I bring that up is because I wanted to say that if you're a young filmmaker or if you're just getting started, I believe the 48-hour film fest is sort of like one of the greatest ways to get your start, because it forces you to make decisions and it forces you to create something in a short period of time so you can understand the logistics of what it means to show up, get stuff done, and be responsible for it. And if you don't finish that, you got to wait a whole nother year before you can go and do that. That year, I partnered with good friends of mine, Rosie Darsh and Katie Schwartz. Katie, who I went to Muay Thai classes with, was a good friend of mine and an actress. She also appeared in the original Never Hike Alone as the original Denny EMT. So Rosie and her were writing partners and were signing up for 40-hour film festival. They were looking for a director who could step in and sort of handle because when you go into a 48-hour film festival, you don't necessarily know what you're going to get. You pick out of a hat a genre, you pick out of a hat, everyone is given a character that they have to weave into the story, and then everyone is given a line of dialogue that they have to weave into the story. And so they were very confident about like comedy and drama and musicals and all that stuff. But one thing that they were afraid of picking was horror. And if they had picked horror, it wasn't their forte. And they said, if we pick horror, we want to make you our horror director because we know that you know the genre. And I had sort of been touting some of the photos from the Never Hike Alone shot. Like I had shared those stills online with people saying like, we got something here. I got a look going, but I want to keep developing it. And I want to keep getting it to another level of where we're going to go. So what we ended up doing was we went to the 48. We ended up drawing horror. We came up with an idea for the Red Room where we shot it at my old apartment. Basically about two girls who go to an Airbnb, and it turns out that it's now haunted by this guy who like set a hex on the apartment. And if anybody opens his portal, he will attack them. This was shot in literally 48 hours. I believe we shot it all in one night. It was a crazy night of shooting. But we put it all together. It's about 8 minutes long. And it did pretty well that year. I think it got really good things. So, if you guys are ready, we're going to watch something that doesn't have to do with Friday the 13th, but I want you to, as we just watched the Never Hike Alone original, now I want you to watch this and see some of the things that translated over. And really, I think more than anything, pay attention to the camera work in this. This is a very simple short. It's got a very Evil Dead-y type vibe. It only goes so far with its production value. But one thing I'm really proud about this short is that even though we were using my Canon Mark II, 5D Mark II with a magic lantern or a magic lamp on it, I think we still got a pretty cinematic film out of this. So if you haven't seen this yet, you're in for a treat. If you have, sit back and enjoy it again. So here we go. Before we go any further, here is the Red Room.
it better be worth it.
Will be. I looked at the website and everything looks awesome.
We talked about that whole trusting the internet thing already.
Okay, well, trust me. When you're on the beach for the whole weekend, you're not even gonna think about being lost.
Okay, so, Carly Fitzwater.
Yes, me.
There you go.
Thank you. And this is my beautiful, wonderful, never cranky, never hangry.
Oh my
always
God,
on
we're
time.
best friends.
We are
Right.
best friends.
Well, here we are. This is the living room. Nice open arrangement. Leads right into the dining room here. And off of that, we've got a full kitchen. Everything you need is right here.
Am I right?
Okay, so we've got the bathroom, towel, shower, all that kind of stuff is set up for you. Feel free. And this is your bedroom.
What about this room?
The owners really don't like people going in there, so let's just keep that door closed.
Why?
You know, I don't make the rules, but you know, that's just how they like it. So, cool.
I guess that means we're sharing a bedroom.
And we get to snuggle the whole night.
Carly, so what do you think for the room?
It's not dead body.
Oh, sorry. Oh, it's all right. Oh, are you girls staying in the room upstairs for the weekend?
Yeah.
Oh,
Why, something wrong?
no. Well, I mean, I wouldn't stay. up there.
Leon.
I'm just.
No, it's fine.
Okay. I just have to say this. There's something about that place that just gives me the creeps. We're just joking. Okay, I'm in trouble.
Nice meeting you, ladies.
Bye.
Really?
What?
We didn't come here just to play on our phones all weekend.
What do you want to do?
Let's go in that room.
No.
Why? Who says we can't?
The landlord.
Oh, please. What does he know?
That we're not supposed to.
Whatever. We're totally going in that room.
I really don't want to go in there.
Quit being such a pansy. Wait. It's gonna be okay.
Can you come on already, please? Frankie.
Look what I found.
Oh my god, I hate you.
We're gonna have so much fun. I think this is everything. I did the pentagram. I got the candles. Looks good. I think I only have to read the words.
I don't want you to say the words.
Nothing is gonna happen. I'm doing it.
What if something bad happens?
Karagma. Diabolos.
No, stop.
Hexacosioi.
Stop.
Hexaconta.
Stop.
Hex. See, I told you nothing was gonna happen.
For the invitation.
Tried to warn him. Some people just never listen. Hey, come out here, babe. It's actually a beautiful night. Honey?
There's a gun.
So there it is. There is the Red Room. Let me see. I got to remember the DP's name is Jacob. That's right. Jacob, I just want to say a shout out to him. He did a really great job on this. Working with him on this was definitely a big step up as far as working with somebody who knew how to kind of throw scenes together. I just want to let this play real quick so people can see it. I mean, very small crew, as you can see. We actually cut out an entire scene of, and this was their company, Sneaky Little Frog. We never put the, oh, there it is. I forgot about that guy. Anyway, let me pull that out. But anyway, that was the Red Room, shot in 24 hours, cut in 48 for the Los Angeles 48-hour Film Festival, which was a really fun. We did that in 2015. That's where I met Katie. You guys probably also recognize Robert Dubois, who also played Axel in Never Hike Alone. So this is where I met Axel and Katie, sort of. Well, I knew Katie, but this is where I met Robert and thought of him for Axel when we started putting Never Hike Alone together. I wanted to pull him into this because we had such a good time working together on that. Even though he's in the film in a couple of scenes, I think he really kind of nailed it. Most recently, I know he was working on Perry Mason, which is one of the reasons why he couldn't do Never Hike Alone 2. There was a conflict in schedule, and so we actually ended up having to replace both of them. Now, by no means is that an Oscar-winning short. I mean, I don't even think we made it to the final round that year, but I was really proud of it. I think that aesthetically, it really, really worked. It was a very generic story, but when you're working in a 48-hour film festival, you sort of kind of got to stick to what you know, and kind of work from there. If you didn't get the story, yeah, the guy killed himself at the beginning of the movie, left his book behind. They find the book. And then go out. But let me bring it back up again, and let's just talk about one of the things I really liked. The shallow depth of focus. Obviously, we're shooting this with, like I said, a Canon 5D Mark II. So it's got a very it's got that photo, the bokeh. It's very like shallow depth of focus, all of that stuff. Let's not show that too much because I know YouTube hates self-inflicted wound violence. This we picked up just on PCH right outside where we were living. This guy right here his name's Daryuk Durashani. I worked with him in animation and VFX. He is funny as hell. Not an actor by trade. He's actually a VFX supervisor and producer. Super funny dude, super good dude. I do miss working with him. This is the actual view of where I used to live in LA. That's the chair that I actually sat and wrote a lot of Never Hike Alone on. And yeah, so, we just kind of made we took care of the Airbnb thing. I think somebody said this was an awkward hug shot, which is pretty funny. It was the point. We wanted it to be like an awkward moment where the friends are being goofy. And then we had the butt shot of them going up the thing. Here's Robert, of course. I'm trying to remember the name of the actress, but she was also wonderful. And she does a lot of network TV as well. You know, let me get to the first thing that I'm super proud of. This scene, going to this little bit right here. This is one of the coolest things because this was practical. There is no, there's no special effects here. What happened here is Dan Neer, who plays the demon in this movie, he did his own makeup. This is his own character that he put together. He was able to put that together over the weekend. It was something that he did. We were using a lot of Duvetine. So I covered an entire room in Duvetine. And he had his face painted and he had it behind the Duvetine, and then he just lowered it because we were using the party light to illuminate her. This is very like Giallo type, like way over the top lighting. But it's something that I was sort of inspired by The Exorcist. It was one of the things I did like about The Exorcist was the way the face would superimpose on things, and the face kind of coming down in the end, and very natural of him just leaning in from the dark. It was a very effective sort of short little jump scare. This is my other favorite shot, the top-down bird's eye view of the pentagram. I can't tell you how hard it is to make a pentagram look that good in salt. We definitely underestimated that trick. I remember our PA, there was a PA that worked for me in animation who did all the drawings in this book in like 4 hours. He did an amazing job. I'll have to remember his name, but he was a little all-star that weekend. Let me see. This, if you notice, like we just kind of messed up the house. This was another thing because it was sort of like this built-in oneer. We got him down the end of the hallway. We had the big tarp with like the demon signs. I loved how his reflection shows up in the window accidentally. This, hold on, let me show you something. Whoop. Let me just hang on and boink. This tarp that's in the back over there, that actually ended up being used in Never Hike Alone as like something that we threw into the camp to like settle things in. You can see we put the candles all over the house. Like all of a sudden the whole house was transformed. And because all the lights were red, we called it the Red Room. This is one of my favorite shots. This reminded me of like some like old school horror, like the up angle on the window. Also another very clever edit here coming in, and the way she kind of like snips away. The jump cuts sort of work. He's already at the door. This was one of the things where it really felt like it was bumping. Here's where we ran into a little bit of trouble. So we were running out of time. The sun was coming up. We had to get the outside shots. We didn't have any money to do the gag of the drill going through the guy's chest like we would have really wanted to. And we also thought about picking it up, but we never got a chance to. So the solution here was just to have it happen behind the door, play it with sound effects. And I did this cool little match cut. Like this is actually two different shots. So as you push in, I had the cuts match the doors, and we had that thing that kind of almost hid the cut where you see the flash of the face. And then they come back out. She's got the drill. We probably should have put some blood on it. You know, kind of not a great shot of him coming out. You see my arm because I dropped the doorknob, but just this clever little thing of them getting out. I always do enjoy them getting into the car, a little ode to Texas Chainsaw Massacre right here of them just like getting in the car and screaming and going away. There's a comedic aspect to this film, which I think is sort of underplayed underneath it all, but it was really fun. And then here, this was the scene to set up the line of dialogue that we had to use, the no guess again. And Carly Fitzwater was the name that we had to use. So that was the challenge for the weekend. But I got to say, I came out of this weekend doing this project feeling like I can do this. Like we can get this done. This is going to be, you know, I think if I go back to Never Hike Alone, it's going to make more sense. And so after I completed Red Room, which was, it looks like this was October 27th in 2015 was when we finished this version of it. And we felt pretty good about it. Let me see. Let me pull that back. Actually, I want to go back to that real quick. Where are you? I want to remember the name of that PA. Eric Z. So Eric Z did all that artwork. Oh, Scott did gaffing. I didn't realize that. Kyle David Amon was there. Kyle House was there as a set photographer. I remember that. Keenan Hippie did the composition. Kyle Klein was a second assistant director. Oh, Aaron Mathern was there. So Aaron Mathern is actually Sandra Rabin's son, who I worked with in animation. Dan Neer, Dariush, Denise. That's right. Denise Ojeda. That's right. We got some songs from some people that donated. They were friends, shot on the Canon D5 Mark II, 40-hour film project. So yeah, so you see that the step up. So now all of a sudden I feel like I can show that to people. You know what I mean? I'm not embarrassed to show that to people. I really do like the Red Room. I think that was a pretty good start. And so once we had the confidence from that, that's when we stepped into doing Never Hike Alone. Through the 40-hour film festival, I met someone by the name of Andrew Kadikian, who was another person who does a ton of 40-hour film fest. He's there every year. He's kind of like a staple, but he also does other projects on the side. And we worked on a project together called Athena. We also did another one called That Bastard Santa, another 48-hour film project. It was a Christmas themed one. That's where I met Chris Thellis. So after I met Chris and we really hit it off, let me see. And we really hit it off. That's when we started talking about Never Hike Alone. And, you know, I started showing him, you know, images from the set. Like, you know, I showed him this image and I showed him this image and I showed him, hold on, let me get this down. And then if I go back to doing it, where's the small one? And then I showed him this image and this image, this is from the footage that you didn't see before, that I never really uploaded. And I showed him this image and I said, we can make this costume. We can make a Friday the 13th fan film. What do you think about it? And I really started working on, that's when I started working on the Ghost Jason costume. So those of you who watch the Ghost Jason episode, or if you haven't, definitely go back and see the transition of what I did here to where the Ghost Jason thing went. And what we ended up doing is coming together and creating the original teaser for Never Hike Alone. So now, let me get back to this version. And then let me get my, there it goes. I always get it wrong. Anyway, so then we started thinking about like, how are we going to put Never Hike Alone together? So from the tools that I put together from learning the Red Room and then working with Chris on That Bastard Santa and Athena, which I wish I had Athena to show you guys, but I do believe that's playing on YouTube somewhere. Undead, if you can find that, I can kind of get it there, but it's Athena by Andrew Kadikian, Kadikian. Yeah. So anyway, so by the time Chris and I got done working on that, we were like fully ready to go up to Big Bear and start shooting Never Hike Alone. And the idea was we were going to expand the story. We were going to do the whole thing about the hiker. And you know, I called up Andrew. Andrew had grown up a little bit. He went from baby-faced Andrew to, you know, the Andrew that we know and love with the beard and the long hair and all that stuff. And he just looked more like a hiker. And we started talking about what we're going to do for Never Hike Alone. I had researched some cabins up in Big Bear that we knew that we were going to shoot. And we created the first teaser. Now I'm going to play the first teaser again, which was the trailer for this episode. I'm going to play it real quick and then we're going to talk about it just really, really fast right afterwards. So I'll be right back after this.
Hey guys, it's day 12 and a beautiful one at that. So today's mission, find the lake. This terrain's looking a little treacherous, but I just have to make my way. Nothing's stopping me. All right, I'll check in with you guys later. Kyle, out.
So obviously pretty cool right there. Hold on, let me see if I can get it both in here. Great. So let's talk about some differences, huh? I mean, a lot of the same concepts are there, but obviously the first difference that we did is we discovered shooting with the drone. The drone had come in with a good friend of ours, Jonathan Cabrera, who was a friend of Chris Thelis, and we went out to Big Bear where we shot this this footage. This is in the same valley that we shot Never Hike Alone for all 8 years. I mean, we never left this valley as far as, you know, making it our main home for most of the story. This was shot with a DJI Phantom 2 or 3 professional. I believe this was shot 1080. And, you know, I'm going to take off the thing. You know, all of these shots, I think we accidentally shot this in 30 frames per second. This is Jenks Lake. So if you guys remember the opening of Never Hike in the Snow, this is the same lake that we fly over from this shot. Like, and so it's pretty cool that like you keep seeing the same thing. So it all brings it back to the same world, but we were always here. And this is Jenks Lake where we shot a lot of the footage for that. You'll notice these are the same scenes that you know from Never Hike Alone, but these are completely different props. Like it's not the yellow tent. It's the same set, but it's a different time of year, the green grass. You know, look at the forest and the way it is. I mean, I loved the way that this looked. If we could have shot the whole movie right then and there, it would have been really, really great. Andrew, you know, I think this was like a maroon and gold type tent. You know, Andrew here, he's kind of got the beard coming in. He's got the gray beanie. We put him in a blue beanie for Never Hike Alone. He wears the same shirt for Never Hike Alone. In fact, I think we kept those shirts. I had so many of those shirts that it kind of went through, but you can kind of see same thing. If you look to the lower left-hand corner, sort of like in the middle third, you'll notice that there is a driving sign that was decolored. Little note for that, but that's the same valley. As you can see, he's got a different type of jacket. He's got this marmot down jacket. He has my camera bag, and he has the it was the same map. He has the sleeping bag on the top. Similar river that he crossed. Again, this is the same set we used in Never Hike Alone too. We actually shot this exact scene 3 times, including this time. Because actually we're going to watch the other trailer too, and we're going to talk about that. This is one of my favorite shots in all of Never Hike Alone. This is actually one of the first times I got to pilot the drone, and I just fell in love with, let me go back because I'm going to go back and watch that again. This shot of it just going up and seeing him walk into the distance and create the scope and scale. Here we're using GoPro, and we're using a little dolly to kind of walk with him. Now, this is the original set for Never Hike Alone. We weren't originally in college camp. There was originally a set of cabins that were down the street. Remember where I said I found that map? Well, this is where we found that map. And people live here. These are cabins that are in, it kind of jumps back and forth. This is kind of one of the cool things. But people actually live in this little neighborhood. Look at these cabins. This cabin right here was used in an old Nike commercial where a guy who looks like Jason with a chainsaw chases a girl out of this house, and she's wearing Nikes, and he can't keep up with her because she keeps like running through the forest like really, really fast. They shot it at this cabin, which we ended up finding out later on down the way. There was something funny. I was like, Drew, go up and just like pull that rope. And looking around. So here's a cool little fact. This shot of Jason right here, I'm not wearing the Ghost Hawk. That is the original mask from Never Hike Alone, from the first one that you watched. That's the same mask, but I just sanded off all of the chevrons because the Ghost Hawk was still in production at that time. So if you go back and again, watch the old Ghost files on that subject, when we got to the point where they had painted the mask and I knew that it was going to be blank, I sanded the chevrons off of this because we were trying to hit May 13th and the mask wasn't going to be there for that Friday the 13th. And I believe this is literally exported May 11th, 2016. So that is a NECA Repro Part 3 mask with all of the chevrons taken off. And look how cool that even looks. So, you know, we got that. this coming down, some of some really good work in there as Ghost Chase. And now everything that we shot before, that's all Big Bear. Now we're back in Malibu. This is where, this is the same trail that we shot the original Never Hike Alone on. Now we're familiar with the trail. We've shot up here before. We've made our mistakes, but now we know what really, really works. We're using this really cool, I don't know whatever happened to it. I think I just trashed it because it broke. But it was this really cool, like, stabilizer for a GoPro. And I would just chase Drew through this. Now, these scenes right here, Drew and I did by ourselves. This was just me and Drew and my camera. I was in costume chasing him with the camera. And then when there were Jason shots, it's Drew shooting me. So it's literally just two people, all natural light. And that's one of the things I loved about this location was the natural light gave it that Texas Chainsaw Massacre feel. So just chasing him, getting the parallaxing trees. We're in the quote unquote tunnels. Some of this is in Big Bear, some of this is in the thing. But again, now you notice the difference between the shots in Never Hike original and then this. Look how low to the ground we are here. We're tracking against it, the speed. You just see the speed lines and everything. It's got energy. And that's what I was missing from the original one. And when you have something in your head, this is what it looked like in my head, but I couldn't get the original version to look like this. And we finally got the tools and pieces to look. And now we got like the quicker little insert shots to make it a little bit more good. I think like this shot right here, swinging into the machete, is kind of one of the coolest shots too. I think of this one. It's so simple. He runs by, and the way it kind of moves, it just worked out. That's another great shot. That was like the Predator shot, I called it. All of this stuff of him crawling around, this was so much fun to shoot. Like I was literally, all right, now crawl over there. Now get up on this. Now he's behind the rock. What's going on there? And so this is all just like improv and pushing him through different situations and him reacting. One of the things that was really, really funny was him coming after him with the little knife and people making fun of us for that. That was a cool thing. Like we were just chopping the wood, and the way that worked into that shot there. Again, these two shots right here. So here's a cool shot right here. Again, blank mask, setting the tone for it, getting the jacket going. Look at the costume here. Really, honestly, this is like when we first put the costume together, it was one of the best it ever looked. And I think I'm really proud of the way everything looked for this trailer. And then that shot too of him jumping in and going. I mean, that's a trailer. I mean, similar font. Again, we're using our drone to sort of like bring us back out. And this was something that really brought us a lot of attention. So you can see that we went from this, which wasn't bad, nice shots, some stuff like that. But look at the glaring mistakes. Look at like the obviously cheap thing to something that had a little bit more to it, that had a little bit more thought, that had a little bit more cinematography. And this is what we showed to the world. This is what we ended up releasing to get people going. Now, this then led to our last, show and tell for the evening, which I think you've all seen this trailer before as well. And afterwards, I'm going to get, I'm going to stay on a little bit later tonight. I'm not going to just jump off after an hour. I think we're an hour and 6 in, but we're going to play trailer number 2. And we're going to talk about even some of the differences in trailer number 2, about how we went from Never Hike Alone. We ran our Kickstarter. It wasn't successful. We did raise some money privately. Some people jumped on off the Kickstarter and helped us. And then we went and shot a lot of stuff that fall. So like we actually went for it. Like we were like, we're going to do it. Like we're jazzed off this trailer. We find the camp, all of those things. We go off in October and in November and shoot it. We run into a ton of issues. It was almost like the original Never Hike Alone all over again. It was like missing shots, missing angles. Not everything's quite right. But a lot of the stuff is right. We did do a lot of good things. Let's take that, build another trailer, and see if we can go for a little bit more money to finish the film in the spring. So what you're about to watch with this is, I want you to notice some of the differences from the final version of Never Hike Alone in here. And we're going to point them out after the trailer, but let's give a view of the trailer real quick.
It's that time of year again, and what better way to spend the summer months than in a place where you can play, learn, and grow. With plenty of activities to go around, we guarantee you'll have a fun and safe time here at Camp Crystal Lake, located in the Wessex County National.
This is a Channel 7 News Scene special report.
At approximately 8:30 a.m., the officers arrived at Camp Crystal Lake.
Identified as
A
Pamela
gruesome fight,
Voorhees,
several victims
49,
were
a
reportedly
former
hacked to
employee
the
of the
bone.
camp.
Report that
was
what you're about to
decapitated by the
see
lone
almost
survivor.
defies description, and some of you may not want to watch it.
Pending investigation, Camp Crystal Lake has been closed indefinitely.
Check 1, 2. Hey everyone, Kyle McLeod here, checking in on another glorious backcountry adventure. This week, we're going to be venturing through the Wessex County National Forest. I should mention, this hike is not for the weary, so I recommend only intermediate to advanced levels tackle this route.
Intermediate, maybe, advanced definitely.
So let me catch any of you noobs out here. Something sweet happened. I found this old trail marker on the other side of the creek. Now, it's not marked in the guidebook, but I think it's worth checking out. Camp Crystal Lake. Can't believe it. That story used to scare the hell out of me. I think someone was living here.
So, did you spot the differences? Some of them were pretty obvious, but let's talk about some things that transitioned into the films, things that were used in this trailer that weren't used in the final films, because there is marketing footage in here as well, and go from there. So let's start it from the top. Anyone who has watched the Ghost Cut probably recognizes this intro. If you haven't seen this trailer before, which I'm sure most of you probably have, this is the same. We basically, when I was building the Ghost Cut, one of the things that I was thinking of was like, oh man, that our trailer really kind of had a great introduction for, the world of Friday the 13th, what we were trying to build, especially with this trailer of like trying to get people reconnected with the original. Here you can see that like some of the work that we did is a little bit, it's not as tight as, we tightened it up for the Ghost Cut. I'm just kind of scrubbing through right now. All of this footage, by the way, this is actually from the camp that we shot at. I found this footage online of Unicamp, and we cut it so that we are never showing any faces. One of my notes to the editors was, I never want to see anyone's faces. And the reason is that Steve Christie was cheap and he didn't have a lot of money and there was no kids at the camp yet. So everything they were doing is sort of like close-ups on things to make it look like people were there, but only 5 or 6 people are there. And that's sort of the joke, is that this is a low budget camp trailer because they didn't have kids there yet. So I designed this logo kind of early on. I did this in Apple Motion, using that effect. This was all stuff that I found. We found all these like clips online that worked. We use actual clips from like this guy's voice is actually natural and there. I always think this is sort of like a little underrated piece of history of what we put together, because I think it contextualized and grounded what Friday the 13th was. This scene right here, obviously this went into the movie. I mean, this is the shots from the movie. This is one of our staple things that went really, really well. Obviously, we had a lot of trouble. I'm going to stop here. We had a lot of trouble with that Jeep. That Bronco broke down 3 or 4 times. I think we told the story before where one time we were driving it up and the tire rod broke and we almost went off the mountain in it. But anyway, this is basically the same takes from the movie. This was one of the things that was like during that fall period we nailed. You can see a little bit of snow in the background behind him. It was getting cold at this point. Andrew's now in the Patagonia. He's no longer in Marmot. He's wearing the Patagonia. He's got the blue cap. His beard's a little thicker. And yeah, I mean, he's the Kyle MacLeod you know and well. He's grown into it. This shot in the original in the final version of Never Hike Alone changed. We originally shot this, I believe, either with an Osmo or we shot it on some sort of gimbal. And Chris never really liked the way this kind of like didn't have any direction to it. When you look at the original Never Hike Alone, when you watch the actual film, you'll notice that the shot that we use here where he jumps over the river and goes into this sign is much smoother and better. There's a couple shots like that in here. Again, from the original trailer, we had him jump over the stream in one movie. And here again, we sort of recreated, but we used it to tell a little bit more story that here's this broken trail marker that's leaning up against the woods. We don't have our high wide thing anymore because he's not wearing the same costume. This stuff made it into the movie. We shot this with a DJI Osmo. Wasn't the greatest action camera. It would kind of mess around. This is Kyle or Andrew diving down the side of a mountain on pine needles. We just thought it looked cool. It was just supposed to be part of the montage. Obviously, this made it into the movie. What else are we going here? People can never tell what he's telling there. So here we go. Back into the drone shots. This shot, I believe, made it into the movie. Yeah, because this is in the introduction. I don't know if this shot made it into the movie, but this is another great sort of top down, him running through the forest. This is one of my, again, this shot. When I flew the drone on this day, I mean, it was windy. It was a tight tunnel. Like if I would have flown off the side of either of the trails, I would have hit a tree and we would have lost the drone. This is one of my, I mean, coming down the river as he's crossing the river. Again, one of my favorite shots. This is back on the DJI Osmo. This shot made it into the movie. I don't believe this drone shot made it into the movie, but this is one from a day. I mean, we did a ton of drone shots. So here we are, the yellow tent, the blue cap, much different. But what you'll notice is this scene right here. This is not the scene that's in Never Hike Alone. Look at the grass around him. It's all dead. So the brown grass sort of didn't match up to anything we were doing in the other scenes that were green and lush and like kind of had a little bit more life to them. We shot this, I believe, in November, and we actually went back and reshot this entire scene in August so we could replace it in the final version of the movie. So it was in a green, lush environment. We had like the perfect light for it too. The other thing, this is another thing that we redid. This shot right here is redone in the final version of Never Hike Alone. For here, I'm actually standing on a ladder, and this is me lifting a camera by hand, doing the crane move. And then in the actual film, we found a jib and we used it and replaced that shot here. So, one of the things we did was, if you want to think about it from a production standpoint, is we created this trailer. It worked for the trailer, but in the long term, it was like, I want something that's a little bit more steady controlled and gets a little bit higher. We had this shot. It just became something from here to the end of the movie. Let's pick up that shot at some point and just replace it in the film. We just had to make it work within, the certain time period. But this, if I remember correctly, this shot was just for the trailer. We came up with this shot just for the trailer, and then we wrote the scene in and reshot it entirely. And that's what ended up going into the movie. This is a scene, from the movie. This tree in the foreground, Numbnuts over here chopped it down with the axe. We called him the set destroyer after that because he was supposed to be standing between the two trees. I guess it's not really too bad. I mean, the chopped tree is the chopped tree. But kind of getting our first look at our camp. We're going to get into an alternate angle. This is one of my favorite alternate angles that we didn't use in the final cut. The angle we used in the final cut was obviously the perfect one to follow him in and get him into the thing. But this was one of the first days that we had Evan Butka on set. In fact, this is us using the jib. And this is the same day we actually reshot him going in. Oh, no, we didn't do that yet. We brought the jib back to do that. And when it was a little bit sunnier out. This is all stuff that went into the final movie. So this was a scene that worked out. In this scene, while shooting this version of it, this guy right here, he didn't switch out the stunt knife. He didn't switch out the real knife with the stunt knife. And when I did this, I actually stabbed my hand. And it was not fun. So this is going into, again, some of the things we shot for Never Hike Alone wasn't even in the movie. This is just marketing. Like, this was us kind of sitting around the camp one day, like all hanging out. We shot what we wanted to shoot for the day. And I was like, we need stuff for the trailer. We need to think about stuff, blah, blah, blah. Let's play with slow motion. Let's go to the field. There was a field behind the camp. Drew, just run through the field. And so, boom, we got him running through the field. All right, what can I do? What looks cool? I want to see Jason smashing through stuff, but I don't have the money to go and get doors and all this other stuff and break all this wood and do all these things. But what can I do? What is something that, like, when you're walking through the forest, right? We clear branches. And we have to get out of the way. We move out of the way of the branches. But when Jason walks, he just walks right through them. And I was like, in slow motion, the way, I mean, this is a cool shot right here. Just the way it's frozen. Like, that's looking at you through look at the eyes. Look at the way the mask looks. It's just everything kind of coming at you. And so him moving through, or this is me moving through the branches and just saying, like, I'm just going to walk into the branches and let them hit me. And again, cutting back and forth. Okay, cool. Let's talk about this. You guys saw on one of our previous ones, we did, that's a cool frame that we actually got it in here. On one of our previous breakdowns of some of the old scenes that we did, we talked about the axe throw, So this was from all of our axe throw tests. And we had some really good ones. You know what I mean? So we used some of that footage and we got it in there. Now, this scene is from when we went up in October in 2016, and we shot the entire fight scene outside. We ended up scrapping the entire thing and reshooting it in the spring of 2017. That's one of the scenes that I really screwed up. So what you'll notice in this scene right here is that Andrew's hair is a lot shorter. His beard is a lot shorter. If you notice the ghost hawk here, look at the F. This is the stunt mask. So this was originally going to be the hero mask because I sort of liked, for some reason, I liked the F on this one a little bit better at first. And honestly, like, I'm actually glad this happened during this scene in this time of year. During this version of it, Andrew punched this mask and, like, knocked paint off of it. So we had to switch in the other one, which was the original Hawk. And that ended up being the hero for the rest of the movie. We ended up getting this fixed and painted. But when we actually shot the movie, when you go back and watch it, the final version, you'll notice that the one that you recognize more often is the one that makes it into the movie. Again, this is just get behind me. I'm going to walk around the camp. Just follow me from behind my head. Hey, guess what? In a Violent Nature, right? There's In a Violent Nature right there. That shot, that's a total ripoff from Jason Lives. So we go from In a Violent Nature, Jason Lives, back to slow motion. This is something that we reshot. JD came up with, you notice this one. I thought that this was sort of like weak sauce, but this is the best one we had from that fall. When we reshot and did pickups in the spring, we ended up redoing this, and it was JD who came up with the idea for the way the shot it finally ends up in the movie. But for now, it's a trailer. We got it to work. We only had a couple of chairs, so that worked, but I think that's another take that we didn't use. I think this is a take that we didn't use, and I think I made a mistake not using this one because the wounds look really good here. And the final version of Never Hike Alone, one of the things I regret is not getting closer and making this a lot of gnarlier of a thing. Kelsey Burke did a great job, but I didn't do a great job of selling it. And that's one of the things that I'll always regret about that scene. This is from the final version of the movie. This is an alternate angle of the, because we did a sliding slow motion shot of this that didn't end up in the movie, of the table slam. Wow. I remember that was sort of like the big moment. So that was the big stunt. So, and again, we still don't even have our final logo yet. I didn't discover Another Danger yet. But this was a shot that I got. Let me see, because this was if I remember correctly, this is in the same set. This is in the same location where we shoot the end of Never Hike Alone. This is the final shot of Never Hike Alone, but we don't shoot that till next summer. But it's in the same location. That's how I knew like the outline looked pretty good. But look at this shot. You know what I mean? Let's go back. Why did I fade out so early? That's such a great silhouette. But now, again, we're talking about growth and progression. You have to show to a set of Indiegogo backers that you have what it takes to be trusted with their money. So, actually, let's talk about some things. One thing I didn't show you guys. Where am I here? So here's a picture from the original the Never Hike Alone trailer. You can get a better look at the mask and the jacket and Drew and all that stuff. You can see like it's very simple. Look at the hands. This is like the original hands. And then I had one other photo too. Bing bong. Here's the other one. This is another favorite of mine. But this was us on the trail. So one of the things you can see that I did to the mask, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to take up this thing, is you can see I chipped it up on the side and kind of just, we rubbed them on, rubbed all that stuff off. It looked pretty good. I like the way it came out. I also got another treat for you guys before I leave, but boom bong. So I'm going to go to the comments. Let me see. What do we got here? I like NHA better. People who stand politely while they're being killed take me out of the movie. Oh yeah, that's what I get what you're saying with that. Some Dean Cundy shit. That's nice. Let me see. I always thought it was strange how we ran at the beginning. It seems like unnecessary risk of injury when he was on hiking a rough trail, but it does make for an interesting shot sequence. Yeah, so the idea is that he was behind schedule. And so he was just trying to hoof it up the mountain to get there as fast as possible because he wanted to get to the summit before sunset. And if he just traditionally hiked it, he was going to be late and he was going to be stuck on the wrong side of the mountain of where he didn't want to be. He wanted to hit his goal for the first day. So we wanted to show that he was a capable hiker and also has a little bit extra. He could basically trail run, and he was trail running and kind of doing some stuff, doing stuff for the gram, man, doing stuff for the tube. He was, crawling under rocks, doing all the stuff. A lot of it was made up. Everything that we did there was like the rocks, they were on the flat ground. Like they weren't impeding anybody's thing. He was just using them to sort of create some content. So it looked like he was doing something cool, sliding down the hill. Did he need to do that? No. Did it look cool? Yeah. And it made it, it's fun. Let me see. And so, okay, here we go. I did want to ask something about the fan commentary perk. I'd love to add another 250 to my pledge. That would be amazing. But I'd like to get a bunch of duplicate stuff with it too. Just wondering if we could do something about that. Yeah, we can totally do stuff about that. Jacob, if you email me, we'll work out something. I can put it in your your thing, and I'll just have to take away one of the other ones, and we'll make it work. But hey, I've got a $6,000 drone DJI Mavic 3 Enterprise Thermal. I'll gladly record. Send that my way. I would love to play with that thing. What got the character of Kyle into hiking in the first place? I think I think at the time I was into hiking, there were a lot of great trails where I lived around. Like there was the trail behind my house, honestly, like that trail in Malibu that we made the original Never Hike Alone in. This trail right here, bing bong, all of this, like this is what made me think about it, because we could shoot this right behind where I lived. This is what it looked like. So I would take hikes up here and I would walk through this like every other day. Like this was I hung out there every weekend. We called it Hike Cardio because it's just like straight uphill and it just kills your cardio. And if you can make it all the way up to the top, like you are a tough SOB. And so I just thought about the hiking aspect of it. Like people who hike, my brother went to Northern Arizona University in Flagstaff, really got into backpacking and hiking and camping. And so when I would go visit him, we would go out in the middle of the woods. We'd stay in tents. We'd be walking around. And I don't know where I heard Never Hike Alone. I remember I kind of came up with it. I know it has to do with dogs and stuff like that, but it was just sort of like Never Hike Alone. And in fact, it was on a hiking trip with my brother and his friend in Sedona. We went down there for the day. We took out one of those like ATV like carts, which were really cool. We went out into the desert. We went and saw some like stuff that some cave paintings and things like that. We were hanging out in this like little cave, and I had the idea for Never Hike Alone, and I pitched him the entire idea for Never Hike Alone. And then I went home from that little hanging out with my brother, like inspired by it, and I made Never Hike Alone happen. Flagstaff is beautiful. I have family there. Yeah, no, it's great. He's still there. Flagstaff is the best. I love, and we shot a lot of Never Hike Alone there as well. Now that you can explain it from a view of a content creator, it clicks. First watch it all as I think I was the first watch. All I could think was you're a dangerous maverick. Yeah, I mean, but you have to understand, like, I didn't have this trailer, you know, knowing that I was going to get there. I mean, I started here with this, and you can see where the similarities are. I'm still trying to get the same type of shots, but what I did was studying of how to get the camera to do what I wanted to do to elicit the emotion that I was trying to get through the camera to the audience. And a lot of that too was, if you heard this story, it was building my team. It was finding Chris Ellis. It was finding Jonathan Cabrera, having Kyle Klein there. You know, so he was there from the beginning, and then meeting Katie and Robert and the way that they came in, and knowing Andrew, and all of us growing together and sticking together and sticking it out ended up leading to what we were going to do. And every time we got to a place where we saw something on screen that we were like, I think we can do better than that, we didn't rush to release it. We thought, how could we squeeze in a little bit of our time to go pick that up and make it look a little bit cooler? Oh yeah. I kind of did preview the perk. I did grab it. Hang on. I have papers everywhere. So one of the things I did while I was organizing for the Never Hike Alone Blu-rays, and I guess that's what we could, actually, this is going to actually bring me into my other thing too. This will segue into that. I got to move my Italian wedding soup out of the way. So I've been organizing for the Never Hike Alone 2 Blu-rays. If you wanted an update on that, I'm almost done with the menus. In fact, I'm done designing the menus. We've been doing some updates for Ghost in the Fog just to make that a little bit more sexier for you guys in the on that. I got to cut some stuff for the table read. I got to change the type of file that is. Just a couple of technical things. I should have everything done for the Blu-rays this weekend, and I'm submitting my order next week. I'll have a big update about that on the Indiegogo. I'm pretty sure about that. But in the meantime, while I was organizing down at the warehouse for the different things I was going to be doing, one of the things I was checking my back stock for things that we had left over from the previous campaign that maybe not everybody got for this campaign. And what I was thinking was, we still have plenty of Never Hike Alone 1 soundtracks by Ryan Perez Dapple, released by Scareflare Records. It's the entire Never Hike Alone suite library, art by Adam Michaels. So we're going to be bringing those back. That's going to be, we had 25 available. So I had 25 basically. Oh, this really got blown out. There we go. Sorry, let me bring that down real quick. We had 25 available because we didn't know if any of them were going to break when we shipped the other one. So now that everyone's safe, they receive their vinyls, we now have 25 more that are going to be available. But there are a special select few that I want to make available, which is what I'm showing you now. These are the Never Hike Alone test pressings. So it's not the red or the silver thing. It is the traditional black. And from what I understand, the vinyl heads out there really love themselves some test pressings. And as you can see, we only made 25 of them. This is 12 of 25. And we're going to make about 5 of those available on the campaign. So those will be available as add-ons for our backers first. So if you're not a backer yet, I would say at least get on there with some digital perks, and then that will open you up to get all of the add-ons that we are going to put on there. What else are we going to do? Speaking of soundtracks, that brings me to something that I think you guys might find funny. One of the things I found while I was going through the old files was this old jokey thing that I did. Let me see if I can find something that's a little, because I know I did this. What's this? Oh, it's fine. So anyway, I found another soundtrack that, who knows? I don't know if you guys know this, but Ghost Jason has his own he has his own album that he released a long time ago called Jason Voorhees Killing Time. This is from when we shot the original Never Hike Alone. This was after we crushed Andrew's head. Somebody took this shot of me drying off in the sun, and I don't know, I just think that like it looks like a good folk album. If you guys want to see the songs that are on the back, side A is Mommy Dearest. Didn't Hear Me Coming, did you? Killing Time, once, twice, 3 times Machete. Side B is Crystal Lake Memories, Gone Swimming, Don't Mind If I Do Be, and Sail Away Tiny Sparrow cover. For you Friday the 13th fans out there, you might enjoy that. But I think I'll post that on Instagram sometime this week. But I don't know. I thought you guys might like that. I always enjoyed that photo, which was pretty fun. Boom. We're going to go back to that. We're going to go back to here. I'm going to go back to the comments. Let me see. Thank you, Cheesy Corn Pop. I will paint me like one of your dead girls. Big Rod's loving it. Okay, so yeah, Robert, you're going to be able to grab the vinyl. The other things that are coming out. Oh, let's see. Oh, here's what I'm going to be doing. So we're going to be doing that. The other thing that I'm going to be offering, because we've been doing a lot of 11 by 17 posters over the years, but one thing that we're going to start offering is a 27 by 40 theatrical poster for Never Hike Alone, the final cut. So it's going to be that master big poster by Josh Beamish. I'm also probably going to make available like the original Never Hike Alone, an original Never Hike in the Snow, and probably a Never Hike Alone 2 Jarvis versus Jason type poster, or maybe the original. But I think what we'll do is we're going to make those single order purchases. Those are going to be, again, add-ons, or we may do another like poster merit badge or whatever that one's, camp poster or whatever thing. That way, if you want to get something a little bit bigger than the traditional poster, like the one behind me over here, that's your 11 by 17 style. We'll, I think it's time to sort of release those. Those have to be add-ons with their own shipping, because I'm going to put those in big tubes and send them to you, and we'll sign them. And I found some places that kind of do single purchase ones. So if we only sell 5 of them, we only sell 5 of them. That's good. Again, we're going to bring back about 25 of the vinyls, and those will be limited edition. I'm going to create a new perk that is going to be a Blu-ray and a shirt. And then I'm going to do another one that is called, all right, so that one's going to be called the Happy Camper. So a Blu-ray and a shirt. And then I'm going to call the Winter Camp. So that's going to be a sweatshirt, a beanie, and a Blu-ray. And so I think that would be pretty cool to get out to you guys to there. Right now, I just launched a new artist on a new shirt and new shirt, new sweatshirt, maybe a new poster, could translate into a new pin. But let me tell you something. I can't tell you what it is going to be yet, but it's actually going to be a preview for Never Hike Alone 3. It's a pretty cool thing. It's not like the Never Hike Alone 3 poster, but it is something that I think you guys are going to think is really, really cool. Really looking forward to it. I'll announce it when it's more official, and, kind of really lock it in there. But yes, like if you haven't already, make sure that you like this channel, you subscribe to this channel, you like this video, share this stuff around. If you guys could do me a big favor this week, take your Never Hike Alone or take your Kickstarter links if you're a backer, or if you know where the Kickstarter link is in the description of this video, take it, share it around social media this week. Let's get the word out that Never Hike Alone, the final cut, is getting very, very close. We're almost within $10,000 of our goal. We're very close to $40,000. I'm hoping that we can get there by Monday. I'm hoping to have these new perks launched by Monday, and maybe have some more information on that new thing. Miss Bunny Girl, what about a choker? I can think about it. Send me a link at wompstompfilms@gmail.com about where they do custom chokers and what you're thinking of. And I'll see if we can make it happen. You never know. Is it easy to do add-on after backing? I know for sure I want a Blu-ray, but still deciding on what else and with things being added, then I've been waiting. So here's the cool thing about Kickstarter Bashzilla. Unlike Indiegogo, when you purchase on Indiegogo, your card gets charged right away. Kickstarter, you're not charged. You're not charged until we hit our goal. And then we don't, and then you aren't charged until we hit our deadline. So if we hit $50,000 tomorrow, you're not charged yet. When we hit our deadline and the campaign is finished, we're going to send you a survey, and then Kickstarter is going to follow up with you and say, are you ready to finalize your pledge? And then you'll follow up with that and make your final decision and then close your pledge, and that will be the final pledge amount. So if you put in a pledge today for a Blu-ray, you've already secured yourself for that item, that reward. Now, if there's an add-on that you want to add, like you don't want like a whole bundle, you just want the shirt. Once you're in the checkout aisle, or once you've kind of put your things together, you can say, I want to edit my pledge, or I want to adjust my pledge. That's what it's called, adjust my pledge. And it's very, very simple. When you adjust your pledge, all of the add-on items show up to the right of the screen. And then you scroll through the items and you can add on as many as you want. You can take them off. But what I would say is if you want to add a bunch of things, look for bundles. And if you have a suggestion on a bundle of a bunch of things you'd like to see come together, like the winter bundle, you know what I mean? Like the sweatshirt, the beanie, and then you get a Blu-ray at the end of it. We could probably expedite a lot of this stuff and try to get it out this winter with the Never Hike Alone 2 perks as well. You know, those are the types of things I can hear you out at wompstompfilms@gmail.com. The one thing about Kickstarter is they don't have secret perks, which is kind of a bummer. And I wish they did have something that to say that, like, I need to make a custom perk for Bashzilla. Bashzilla wants this, 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 and this. I'm going to give you a discount for this. And there are ways for me to throw discounts and things like that. And maybe, Jacob, that's the way we can do it. We can just give you a little bit of a discount. That way you're not getting too much to the thing. Like Allie Girl says, it's easy to add. And she's already done it multiple times. Thank you, all that. I'm a huge fan of Friday the 13th, but I've yet to watch Never Hike Alone, but I'm about to, and I am hyped. Thank you, Air Guy. Definitely check it out. Remember, there is a 4K version of Never Hike Alone too. Like, I love sending more views towards that, the original, but there is a 4K version, so check that one out too. I've shared the link on Kickstarter on Twitter, but it won't share on Facebook. I have way more followers on Facebook. You should, you can either just forward ours or just post it on your thing. Might be a way to do it. Hey, I got a Mavic 3 Air and I can record for you. Also, I have a Mavic 3 T Enterprise Thermal. Well, we'll have to figure out a way to get you up here. That's right. The red Womp Stomp shirts. You guys, I'm going to make a note. Where's my pen? There it is. That's right. The red shirts. Just like Star Trek. All right. Okay. Always reminding me. Let me see. Make the choker Jason's hands. Jason is the choker. He prefers the crushing. I want a Jason Voorhees Killing Time poster. Maybe we can make that happen. We can do a single purchase on that one or something. Vince, besides the new cabin shooting location, any other happy surprises during the filmings? Yeah, let's go back to this. If you want to talk about that specifically. Yeah, like finding this footage of the original camp, that was a happy surprise. Just scrubbing through the fact that the beginning of Never Hike Alone has a little bit of snow in it, which wasn't intended. And I was actually kind of upset that there was snow in the background because I wanted it to feel like summer. It actually ends up working out when you transition from Never Hike in the Snow to Never Hike Alone. There's a little bit of snow left over. So it's almost like it transitions from that movie, and it ended up working out in the long run. So that was another happy accident. Honestly, like this scene right here, him sliding down the pine hill, that was just literally the trail going up to camp. And we were just like, hey, try this and do this. Cause we were just kind of crawling around. It was like the continual, just like making Kyle jump on stuff. What was the other accident? This was an accident. This scene right here. that's one of the reasons why I love it so much. We were driving down a back road. So the road where we filmed the It's Day 2 and a beautiful one at that, with the tent scene, there's a road called Glass Road or Seven Oaks Road. There's Glass Road and then Seven Oaks Road, and it cuts all the way through. And there's all these weird camps back there. And then there's this river and a little bridge where I saw this as we were driving by, stopped my Jeep, got everybody out. We shot this, got back in the Jeep and kept going. Like literally it was a day of picking up Andrew running around the forest. Like we went up towards this little area right here, like where Kyle is now, that sort of, you see the ascending hill behind him, behind those trees. The camp is up behind him. So there's a trail that goes up the side of that hill behind him that leads up into the camp. And this is the lower basin where the river is. This is when I'm back up at camps. I usually flew out of the swimming pool that was there. So right to the left over here, actually, let me go back to my boy, Drew. So to the left of Drew, where you can't see it, behind the shrubbery, there's a road, and that is Seven Oaks Road. And so we literally just pulled the cars over to the road, ran into this little valley here. And that's where we shot all of these things. This sign was built with wood from the camp, from a fallen cabin. We assembled them and kind of built it. All of the bamboo is from a baseball field in Culver City that they had a little bamboo like forest on the side of like a hill and a lot of dead bamboo on the ground. And one day after work, I was just hanging out there at lunch, eating my lunch, noticed the bamboo, saw it all over the ground, grabbed a bunch of it, threw it in the back, like literally like had all this shitty bamboo in the back of my Jeep. Or I think in my Escape at this point, because I was like, oh, I can use this to make a camp sign. So that was a happy accident. Let's see. This room, boom, good. It paused. This ping pong table, that table all the way to the end and the far end, like the octagonal table, that was all there. Like we didn't build that. That was there. All of these other tables here was built by Brittany. I'm forgetting, but Brittany, she did all of that, painted the sign, the paddles that are on the wall, the oars that are on the wall came from my family's houses, who live on the lake. My grandfather sent that from all his old stuff. Got this old flag from my parents who run an antique shop. This prayer card was an accident. I ordered a bunch of photos, like old camp photos, and they included that with this. And this actually ended up in the movie. The thing that Kyle reads is on that prayer card. That's a real prayer card. I created that picture of Jason and his mother in the background. If you didn't notice that one, that was one of my favorite things to do. Let me see. The happy accident of me getting stabbed. The happy accident of him punching the nose, that was there. Yeah, that was that's kind of like what ended up being the happy accident. Finding the camp itself really too. Let me hide this. Can we get a pin up of you? Actually, I have the, if you ever come to cons, I have one of me as Officer Playboy, which I think is a pretty fun one. You can definitely grab that one. Did you make the Ghost Files live poster? Am I making a poster of that? Did I say that on a previous one? I guess I could try to do that. Yeah, Star Trek with the red shirts. I got to make a red shirt. There is also a black and white version. I can't remember what we called that. The classic cut, I think. Hey, Vincent, we have, I'm a fan from Brazil. Oh, well, greetings. We have Never Hike Alone one in Portuguese, but when will we have the second film? I believe they're working on it. The guys that down there who do the translations, they're working on that now. We've been sending them everything that they need. I think they're going to do the ghost cut next, actually. I like to say the fact that you got Mike for Dylan's New Nightmare and Tom for NHA. Oh, you mean Miko. Tom for NHA was the ultimate Salt Bay flex move. I literally cheered for both reveals. Yeah, no, that was pretty cool. Getting to work with Tom definitely opened up the door for us for Cecil and I to convince Miko to do trust us to do a good job with that. No, it's all good, Big Rod. I totally hear you there. The NHA Playboy. Yeah, that was fun to find that. Oh, you have the NHA Playboy. That's funny. Well, if you email me, Miss Bunny Girl, I have that photo. I can just send it to you. So you can just email me at wompstompfilms and we can work something out there. Just like that's another thing. Anyone in New England, this Sunday, PVD Horror is doing a pop-up. Where did I put my phone? Yo, guys, I'm a mess tonight. Let me look at this real quick. Sorry. I know. There they are. These guys are funny. PVD. There it is. It's called the Pop-Up Shop of Horror. Little Pop-Up Shop of Horrors 4. It's going to be at Buttonwoods Brewery, 50 Sims Avenue in Providence, Rhode Island, 02909. I'm going to be there. I'm going to have some wares there. Sunday, October 13th. It is Columbus Day. Everybody hates Christopher Columbus, but it is the Italian Pride parade going on in Providence, Rhode Island. So if you're going to go down and hang out with us at PVD, Little Shop of Horrors, little pop-up shop of horrors, definitely make sure you watch out for the traffic. There's going to be the parades going through, find the alternate ways in. There's going to be a lot of foot traffic down by Buttonwoods Brewery, which I think, is that what it was? Buttonwoods Brewery? Did I say that correctly? Yes, I did. Buttonwoods Brewery. So definitely join me down there. Join me at Vancouver Horror Show. I think that's going to be doing it for me tonight, guys. Are there any last questions you want to see? Mardina cheered the first time she saw Tom Matthews in the back of the ambulance. That's another I'm hoping to get soon for the Blu-ray. Yes, Bash. Cecil will have that ready soon. Josh is heading home from Vegas to send us the behind the scenes. I guess something else got corrupted when we tried to export it the other day before he left for work. So we should get that. I have the one of you being disemboweled with the chainsaw. Yeah, that is Officer Playboy. But we are almost gone. I haven't been doing the 2-hour podcast, but we did it tonight, everybody. We did it tonight. And like I said last week, YouTube got me for using that music, but I got it in. I think I challenged it. I think I'm going to be okay. I'll be getting all the stream cash for that one. But if you haven't yet, check out the Kickstarter for Never Hike Alone, the final cut. I will be back next week. Will I? I think I will. We'll have to come up with something. Maybe I can find some more fun stuff for us to watch. Other short films. Maybe I can have Austin on. We can talk a little bit about Pathosis. Or maybe we can talk about, yeah, dude, we're almost on for 2 hours, an hour 50. Thank you, Big Rod. If you guys ever have any questions, make sure you can always come back later on in other weeks. You can ask me then. But thanks for sitting down. You guys finally got to see the original crappy version of Never Hike Alone. But we also went on a little journey to show you how we went from an idea that was good conceptually and how we were able to build it up, develop it. And if you look at the length of time that happened here, we're talking about from 2014 to 2016 to 2017. So if you dedicate your time to your craft, if you go out there and practice, if you go out and make friends with people who are really, really talented, and you bring those people together and you all have one vision and goal and you stay on task, you can reach your dreams just by continuing to go out there and fail and try again and try again. So that is my advice for you this week. If you're a young filmmaker, get out there, go make your movie, and then figure out how you can do it better next time and just keep that going. And the sky is the limit. I'll see you guys next week. Keep an eye out for updates on Monday for both Never Hike Alone 2 and Never Hike Alone, the final cut on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. New perks, updates on the Blu-rays, hopefully finishing those this weekend. I'll see you guys next week on the Ghost Files. And until then, I will see you on the trails. Have a great week.